Hey guys, I'm Mike the Travelling Scouser and welcome back to my Streets of Liverpool playlist. Today I'm here in Mathew Street, the home of the Beatles, so let me show you around. So one of the first things that you must see is this statue of the great legend, the man himself, John Lennon. The famous frontman along with Paul McCartney of the Beatles. He sadly passed away in 1980, but you can get your photograph taken with this statue with the man himself. It's a fan favourite to do so, so come along to Mathew Street and come and see it. So just moving down a little bit from the John Lennon statue, which is just there, we have the Wall of Fame, and this is a list, not a comprehensive list, but it's a list of a lot of the artists who have performed here at the Cavern Club, the world famous Cavern Club, where the Beatles first made their name. And if you look behind me, you'll be able to see some big hitters, some big names. We've got Oasis, we've got the Arctic Monkeys, so have a look for them. So the one which is quite close to my heart is just above me here. It is Billy J. Kramer and the Dakotas. Now, I'm actually a distant relative of Billy J. Kramer. He was my granddad's first cousin. He had a few #1 hits back in the 1960s. So it's quite cool to see a relative, a family member here listed on the Wall of Fame for the Cavern Club. But have a look, you never know who you might find as well. There's a variety of artists that have performed in Liverpool at the Cavern Club as well. It's quite cool to just take a look and to see who you can find. Maybe your favourite artist has performed at the Cavern Club as well. So just swinging round to North John Street, which is just around the corner from Mathew Street, we come to the Beatles themed hotel, which is titled Hard Day's Night Hotel. And what's interesting with this hotel is there's a lot of Beatles memorabilia inside, so if you love the Beatles, you can be surrounded by all of this memorabilia. It's also interesting that the logo for this hotel is actually the opening chord sequence for A Hard Day's Night. Quite cool. Check it out, take a look, and if you look up on the building, you'll also be able to see statues of the Fab Four as well. So just moving down slightly, and I'm outside probably what is the most famous part of Mathew Street itself, the Cavern Club. Now this is where the Beatles made their name. The Beatles performed here a staggering 292 times, with their first performance here in 1961 and their last in 1963, so 60 years ago this year. But a variety of other artists made their name here as well, such as Cilla Black, who we'll take a look at in a little bit, but also other Merseybeat artists as well. It sadly closed down in the 1970s, and this site isn't actually the original site of the Cavern Club. We'll show you where the original door was a little bit later on, but it's been painstakingly remastered, it's been painstakingly recreated so as to give that vibe of what it would have been like back in those 1960s heydays. So let me show you what the outside looks like a little bit more, but let me take you a bit more down Mathew Street. So moving just a little bit further down Mathew Street, and I'm standing by the statue of another Liverpool legend. It is none other than Cilla Black. So Cilla Black actually again made her name here at the Cavern Club back in the 1960s. She was the cloakroom attendant, but she also got up on stage. She started a singing career which lasted for decades. She has a few #1 singles, and what is interesting with this statue is if you actually look at the base of the statue, she's actually standing on the record for one of her #1 hits, You're My World, so just take a little look at that. But also on this statue, if we take a look down at her dress, there's actually different occasions throughout her life that are embellished, that are memorialised on that statue as well. And obviously she didn't just have a singing career, she went on to have a television career. If you mention Blind Date, well, that is synonymous with Cilla Black as well. So come down and celebrate this Liverpool legend as well here on Mathew Street. So I mentioned before that the Cavern Club entrance, which you can go into, which you can have a look around, where you can enjoy performances, wasn't actually the original Cavern Club, or wasn't the original Cavern Club entrance. The original entrance is actually right next to the Cilla Black statue and is right behind me here. In the 1970s, parts of the Cavern Club were actually demolished to make way for the Mersey Tunnel, which runs from Liverpool over to the Wirral, and it was used as a ventilation shaft. Part of the Cavern Club is still used, is still in existence, is still the original Cavern Club, but a lot of it is now this ventilation shaft. But you can come down to where it is just behind me and take a look at what would have been the original Cavern Club. You can take in the sights, the sounds. You could imagine what it would have been like to have been here in the 1960s during its heyday. You can also visit a pub called The Grapes, which the Beatles used to frequent. As you can see here, it's getting refurbished, but it may be reopened by the time you visit. Now this is quite an interesting addition to Mathew Street. This is a bust, a statue of Carl Jung, or Carl Jung, the Swedish psychoanalyst. And we'll see the quote that is just behind me, "Liverpool is the pool of life." What's interesting is that it's thought that Carl didn't actually visit Liverpool, but he has a dream of Liverpool. And this is what he dreamt, Liverpool being the pool of life. And this has been immortalised here along Mathew Street, so take a look. So if we just move off Mathew Street and onto Stanley Street, which is just around the corner from Mathew Street, we actually come to the statue of Eleanor Rigby. So Eleanor Rigby was immortalised in the famous Beatles song that was on the Revolver album, and you can get your photograph taken with Eleanor Rigby herself. Who was Eleanor Rigby? The debate is still out. There is actually a grave in Liverpool that you can come and visit, which is attributed to Eleanor Rigby. But Paul McCartney always claims that it wasn't written about her. But still, did he walk past? Did he think about her? Did he read that grave? Who knows? But come along, get your photograph taken with Eleanor Rigby. So moving just over onto Whitechapel, which again is just around the corner from Mathew Street, we find the statue of Brian Epstein. Now Brian is just behind me. He was the manager of the Beatles, and he again is attributed to contributing towards the fame, the fortune of the Beatles, but also many other Liverpool hit makers. And it's interesting that the reason why this statue is here on Whitechapel is because his record store was here just opposite from where the statue is. So again, take a look, come down, see what it's like. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. I've been Mike the Travelling Scouser. I've got more videos coming up soon, more streets of Liverpool, more content from travelling abroad. If you've liked what you've seen below, give me a big thumbs up and give me a subscribe. Catch you next time.